It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a little bit cold. Let's go to Kruger.
All right!
It's not like that. This is cable on my face.
This is not the best place to do this. Today's been an interesting day because my finger's in the way of the camera. Just stretch the legs, have some egg, let's have a blast of that.
My name is Dylan, and for as long as I can remember, I've always had a real passion for the bush. Add to that my passion for cameras and video, and well, the result is fairly obvious. So we hope you enjoy joining myself and Kelly for a trip to our favorite place in the world.
So we're about to arrive at Billy's. So what's Billy's famous for?
Dropped pie.
And?
They also had that little store. I don't know what else.
There's one other thing.
They have yummy breakfasts.
No. Did I tell
You
you?
know, dropped pie, just tell me.
Roadworks.
Oh, yeah.
They're always fixing the road around here. But anyway, we're about 4 minutes from Millie's.
And we're very hungry, so
And we are hungry.
yes, can't wait for a nice breakfast.
Yeah. Millie's is kind of a tradition of ours now. It's a little restaurant along the N4. And it's the perfect place to stop for breakfast on your way from Joburg or Pretoria to Kruger. So we stop there every time on the way. Just stretch the legs, have some egg, let's have a blast of that. Have some egg and bacon and be on our way.
That was almost English.
Our first route took us up from Malalan Gate past Bachendal Rest Camp with a stop at the Majulu Waterhole to watch the elephants drinking. We then made our way up towards Afzal.
We have now checked in at Malalan Gate and we are on the look for animals. We did see the first big five, which was elephant, which is very cool.
While it will always be an incredible sight to see a nice bull ellie, I must admit that I've always had a real passion for birds, and in this department, Kruger never disappoints. This is a collection of some of the bird sightings we had throughout our week in the park. From these greater painted snipe, a new species for me, to a once-in-a-lifetime eagle sighting. We were privileged to be able to sit for about 15 minutes watching two tawny eagles taking scraps from a lion kill that took place during the early hours of that morning. Suddenly, the pair were visibly upset and we noticed a third tawny off to the other side of the vehicle. The pair started barking a warning to the newcomer and eventually chased it off. Apparently, it's not very common to hear tawny eagles vocalize. It was certainly something that we had never seen, but I managed to catch it on camera, so check this out. The tawny eagles were seen on the S65, a few kilometers south of S1 on our second day. But now, let's jump back to day one as we continue on our way to the first camp, Pretoriuskop. We made our way to Afzal on the H3 with a hyena escort. This guy walked alongside us for about 10 minutes before spotting an impala and then charging off to investigate. So after a short break to stretch legs and visit the shop, we continued on the Voortrekker Road past Shipwreck Mountain, which I forgot to film. And after checking in at Pretoriuskop, which I also forgot to film, we made our way down to our favorite hut, number 27. The camp was fully booked this time, and we were a little disappointed with the noisy neighbors and the lack of sightings close to the camp. In the past, we have seen black rhino and leopard right near the gate, but this time we had to settle for this lone ellie. We had to venture out towards Skukuza every morning to find some animals, but it was well worth it.
So here we are, day 2 in Pretoriuskop. We just stopped by Transport Dam.
Hold on to your tea. Told you.
Sorry. This.
Not the best place to do this. Oh, there's an impala right here.
And there's an impala right in front of us.
Sat here at Lake Panic for about 20 minutes. I mean, what is this place called?
Transport Dam.
For about 20 minutes, and there's nothing for me to video. And now that we've left, everything is at the water.
I have a happy person now.
Our third and final day at Pretoriuskop took us once again out towards Skukuza, but this time we headed south to check out the Stevenson Hamilton Memorial. This memorial site is in honor of the park's first warden, James Stevenson Hamilton, and it can be found north of the S112. Stevenson Hamilton was nicknamed Skukuza by the Tonga tribe who lived on the reserve. Skukuza means the man who has turned everything upside down, or the man who swept clean, which refers to his efforts in eliminating poaching in the park. The ashes of Stevenson Hamilton and his wife Hilda were scattered around this area. Here you are allowed to exit your vehicle and take a walk around the boulders and read up on some of the information included on the tablets there. It's got a great view and it's a nice place to stop and stretch your legs. Also, if you're into birding, it's a fantastic spot to sit and check out the bird life. However, on the day that we were there, it was very windy and this made it very cold, so we didn't end up hanging around for too long.
So, I'm guessing that none of this audio is going to be usable because it's very windy, it's quite cold, but behind us is the Stevenson Hamilton Memorial.
Yes.
I haven't read the plaque yet, so I can't remember what it's about, but yeah, it's the Stevenson Hamilton Memorial, which is pretty cool. You come up to the top of this kind of steep hill and you're allowed to get out and walk around and check out. It's nice, it's something like that. It's freezing and it's windy. It looks like it might rain later, so we'll see how it goes, but it is a bit of a relief from the heat that we had yesterday. Yesterday got up to about 39. Today we're sitting at 17, so we'll see how it goes.
After checking out the memorial, we headed south on the S114, looking forward to another stop at Afzaal for some hot chocolate and then an afternoon drive back up the Voortrekker route. It was a pretty quiet afternoon with not too much to report in terms of sightings, and we were heading back to the camp a little tired and frustrated. The light was starting to fade and we now had our mind set on a good fire and relaxing at the camp. I'd turned to filming Kelly and the car rather than any animals when, with about 6 kilometers to go to Pretoriuskop, we were treated to a very special sighting and a first for us in the Kruger when we spotted a small herd of sable antelope moving quietly through the bush about 30 meters in from the road.
Today's been an interesting day because we haven't really seen very much today. We did a loop from Pretoriuskop up to Skukuza, down past the Stevenson Hamilton Memorial, and down towards Afzaal, and then heading back up the Voortrekker road. And we saw, I mean, pretty much nothing. Along the other side of the tar road, we got a nice little hyena den with a couple of little ones messing around, pulling the number plate off the car in front of us, which was quite funny. I still don't understand how they didn't notice. We tried to warn them, but they didn't really understand what we were saying. Then some ellies next to the road, but that's about it. We went for a good 2.5 hours without really seeing anything, although we did get some new bird species. But then, to make it all worthwhile, to round off the day, we got a sable sighting on the Voortrekker road. What are we, about 6 k's from Pretoriuskop?
Yes.
And sable's one of the things that we've been trying to see for the last 2 years coming to Kruger, so that was an awesome one. As always with sable, they were very shy. They stayed hidden for most of the time. I got a bit of video, which you're probably looking at right now, but very, very stoked to finally have seen sable. We've been missing them the entire trip. Been seeing reports of sable antelope just in and around the areas that we've been traveling through, so very happy to have seen those. Anything to add?
Well, remember also that lady I spoke to last night told me they had seen sable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely been lots of reports, but as you said, we've just been missing it. So
yep. So
happy to see it.
First time seeing sable in Kruger. What an awesome sighting that was to round off the day. It's about 4 o'clock now. We were supposed to be home at 12.
Which we've been saying for the last 3 days.
Oh, and then an interesting thing happened. we stopped at Afzal to get some snacks.
All right, yes.
And as usually happens, Kelly's standing outside and a huge hyena walks up into the picnic site, lifts up one of the bins and runs away with it. And I never saw it because I was having a wee. So
He always misses the good stuff.
yeah, last time we were here, I went for a wee and a bush baby jumped onto the table.
That was in Tombuertu.
No, that was Crocodile Bridge.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
it was
Crocodile Bridge tent.
Yes, I was
We
just
stayed.
waiting out in the
Yeah,
deck.
we stayed in the tent at Crocodile Bridge, and I went for a wee, and a bush baby jumped onto the table in front of Kelly and sat there, and then left just before I came back. So this seems to happen fairly often.
On day 4, we packed up nice and early, left Pretoriuskop as the gate opened, and made our way north to the S1 and then east past Kukuza and up to Satara. We were very much looking forward to our first ever stay at the Satara rest camp. We were treated right away as we picked up these 3 cheetah on the move along the S1. Unfortunately, due to the number of vehicles and the position of the animals, I wasn't able to get the best footage. After trying to shoot handheld at 600mm through the windscreen, I accepted defeat and handed my trusty iPhone over to Kelly. It was a beautiful full-day drive up to Satara, with especially good game viewing along the H41 near Skakuza. Another highlight was the H13 south of Satara with its wide open plains, a very different experience from the dense bush around Pretoriuskop. We made a short detour to get a sighting of the at the time famous Delaport leopard with its kill in the tree. Since it had been there for a few days, everyone knew about it, and this meant that there were at least 20 cars in the area. Not being one to sit in traffic, we took a few photos, checked out the Ellies drinking nearby, and continued on our way. We arrived at Satara at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, checked in, found our bungalow, unpacked a few things, and headed out for a late afternoon drive. We arrived back just before the gate closed and settled in for a relaxing evening by the fire. The next morning, as always, we were out when the gate opened, and we were treated to one of the best sunrises I have ever seen. A lot of people have asked what our secret is to game viewing, and I definitely say that the key is to set your alarm, make yourself some coffee, and be out when the gate opens. It might be a bit of a challenge to get going in the early morning, but it's always worth it. I must say, it did seem like the Satara guests definitely had the same idea, as every morning there was a queue of cars to get out before the gate even opened. This was a complete contrast to Pretoriuskop, where we were one of a handful of vehicles waiting to exit the camp. Just to prove that the early start is worth it, we picked up 5 lions on the move along the S89. Naturally, they were on the wrong side of the vehicle to get good video, and they were moving really quickly, so we grabbed a shot with the iPhone as they disappeared into the bush. Having witnessed such a spectacular sunrise the day before, I decided to set up the GoPro. Of course, this meant that on that day, the weather looked something like this, and that meant that most of the animals we saw that morning looked something like this. However, we were unfazed because Kruger is always a special experience regardless of the weather. We traveled down the S90 and the S41 in some cold, overcast, windy conditions, but we still managed some great sightings, like this big guy taking shelter in the long grass near the Singita game log. It's always with a heavy heart that we leave Kruger on the final day, but rather than just driving to the closest gate, in this case Orpen, we decided to make a day of it and head right down to Crocodile Bridge. This led us past one of my favorite spots in Kruger, the Incumbent Lookout on the H10 just south of Chukwane.
This is one of our favorite little viewpoints here on the H10. I don't think it has a name. I'll look it up, but awesome little spot on top of the mountain. The little viewpoint where you can look down below. We often spot ellies. There's some wildebeest down there. I try to take a video of them, but it's very windy. But anyway, definitely a place to check out if you are traveling along the H10, just south of Chukwane.
It's always a sad time when we head back home, as we love coming here so much. But yeah, when we always get near the end of the trip, we already started planning the next one, which is what we always do.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's when you know the Kruger bug is bitten, when we're still in the camp and we're already planning the next trip. So like we said, we'll be up in the north, the Taba Shingwedzi side.
Yes,
we'll be seeing if there's any less traffic there, which will make me happy.
Yes, because he gets very grumpy.
Once again, planning a nice long exit route through the park paid off, as we had a few special sightings along the way, like this encounter with a leopard who appeared to have come off second best in its encounter with a porcupine, and possibly something else based on the injury on its tail. And of course, it walked out of the bush right next to the car while I was driving, and so I ended up having to reverse in traffic and try to take the video at the same time, and he moved pretty quickly along the road. So apologies for the substandard video quality, but this is a sighting I still wanted to share. And then just to round off the trip, about 3 kilometers from the gate, we spotted this incredible martial eagle who was watching a jackal running around nearby. So if you made it all the way to this part of the video, thank you so much. We really appreciate you watching, and we hope that you enjoyed sharing some of our Kruger experiences. As always, take nothing but photographs, leave nothing but footprints, keep a safe distance from the eddies, and we'll see you in the next one.